TP to push out. No shimmy. See, we're learning here, though. We try to counter poke out and call out the super. You can't catch me onto this install.
He's hitting like a goddamn truck and nobody is stopping him. Nagoriyuki is super strong right now. He's a standout when it comes to win rates on ranked, either being in the Vanquisher section or everybody section, and has some pretty good results in online tournaments specifically. In terms of offlines, we don't really have a lot of information. This is just due to the fact that Nagoriyuki isn't really a popular character, so a lot of their key players have just not went to an offline yet. For example, Varix is still to go to one, and as soon as he shows up, I think we'll start to see how much Nagoriyuki is beyond strong this patch. Nagoriyuki has always been some type of threat within the meta, either on launch being one of the strongest without a doubt, or in the current patch specifically, having access to a ton of strong tools and a brand new one that makes his game plan scary. But Nagoriyuki's always been a character that has a massive neutral, massive offense, and massive damage. And having access to special cancels makes that offense feel ever present. But let's get into it. Let's talk about what's making Nagoriyuki strong this patch by getting started with the neutral. So you hate fighting Nagoriyuki in neutral, and there's a very easy answer why. He has a ton of neutral tools. To get into his specials, he has access to, of course, Beyblade, which allows him to just leap in and get started. Not a low anymore, but still a fantastic interruption tool. If you go for a poke or a fireball, he could do Fukio Beyblade and he's in. This almost makes it feel like his approaches are basically infinite. He can approach you from any range on the screen. Add that with his neutral pokes, when he gets into high blood, all of a sudden the screen space is the danger zone. He can poke from almost anywhere for high damage. Again, they're almost busted, but what it comes down to is the recovery. That is one of the huge weaknesses about 5H and 2H, is that if he is wrong, he will be punished. But if these tools connect on counter hit, then all of a sudden your health disappears, and on block they also chip health. So it's very risky going against these normals, either taking them or blocking them, either or. It's rough. Now 2S is a very godly low poke. Whenever you're playing a neutral walking back and forth, you need a low that you can threaten that will hit the opponent's shins, and Nagoriyuki 2S is exactly that. As it's a combo starter, it's pretty good for getting started with, huge counter hit reward, and of course, at higher blood he's able to meterlessly connect into 5H, making it a chunky change and lower some of his blood. But 2S is a very godly poke, not fun to fight. Again, the recovery is still pretty good on it. It isn't as it used to be, but the recovery, you can get away with this. And then 5H is just fantastic for interrupting pokes like I mentioned before. And in terms of anti-airs, he does have some really good ones. 6P with a fantastic reach to it, and obviously a good hitbox makes it fantastic. And then 2H being one of the anti-airs of all time, as it strikes quite far, quite fast for a lot of damage on counter hit. If he has to anti-air you, he will, and he's going to get a lot off of it. So his neutral is scary because everywhere's a danger zone. Like I mentioned before, grounded, it's a danger zone. 2S, catching your shins. 2H, catching you out the air. Nowhere safe if you're trying to approach. And let's say he's fighting a character that has a fireball or needs to be interrupted quickly, he has Clone. Clone is a fantastic projectile that has priority and will slash through whatever projectile to allow Nagoriyuki to get in. So he also has an answer to the zoner matchup. So he has an answer to everything. If you can play Nagoriyuki well enough, you do have an answer to every situation. Once he gets in, what does he do? He does offense, he does pressure. Now this is where Nagoriyuki gets scary in his own creative way. Not many characters have what Nagoriyuki has. He has an overhead for Oki, which is pretty standard. It's not insane, but it's a fantastic tool for catching your opponent off guard. And he also has really good low staggers like 2K, 2S, and 6K. Fantastic tools for catching the opponent's shins. So he's got an overhead and he's got a low for getting in the opponent's hit. He also has plus frame staggers. Tools like close slash is a fantastic tool just for staggering away because Nagoriyuki doesn't get pushed back that far. And having access to special cancels makes his staggers even scarier because all of a sudden a tool that's minus 13 could be in the realm of whatever the hell, because he could still special cancel. And being able to stagger a lot of his low recovery moves, for example 2S, even though it's minus, he could still kind of stagger away with it because of the distancing, beating a lot of mash tools. So it's really difficult to guess on Nagoriyuki, despite the fact it's very clear. It's like, oh, this is minus. It's like, is it though? And it's like, you'll get caught. Again, he could delay 2S into 5H, he could just do 2S, 2S. He has so many tools for staggering because he's not that minus on a lot of them. And let's say you go go for a mash, right? Simple mash, you press a button, Nagoriyuki cancels into 6H off of close slash and you'll delete your health. 6H is the counter hit tool. If you press a button, it'll kill you. At high blood, this becomes a fantastic option for cashing out and just dealing so much damage, and with meter, it just gets even higher. And once you get comfortable with blocking him, either dealing with his stagger pressure, dealing with his high-low, or dealing with a lot of his like special cancel staggers, he has a command grab, so now he can do Beyblade, delay into command grab, close slash walk forward into command grab, so now there's more options. The whole point of the stagger offense is to stop you from fuzzy blocking, that way he can land his command grab, which lowers down his blood, giving him more stagger options like mentioned before. Low blood, he's scary as hell, and he has a way to get back into low blood by chomping at you. When he gets the chomp, he's able to just do it all over again, and keep in mind, Nagoriyuki does heal a teeny bit when he chomps you. May not be that effective, but still something to keep in mind when we get down to those one-hit scenarios. Did that one-hit scenario happen because he bit you? That's what you've got to think about. But yeah, he makes you guess with backdashes and jumps afterwards, and then it goes back to stagger. You get the point. His offense is scary because of the high damage and just the amount of options he has. And this is where we need to talk about the most important thing. This is the thing that I think is making Nagoriyuki top 1 right now. Reddit card. This new move is kinda absurd. So I like the design of this new move. I've said it ages ago, I think it's still one of the best designed new moves next to Kai's. And I'm still in that boat. I think it's a fantastic design. However, it has too many strengths. They're not really honing in on the last gambit play, making it not that much of a last gambit. The balancing is off, but the design is great. His blood meter will be stalled unless he builds to the point where it'll be full, or if the timer's ran out, or if he's gotten a command grab. However, during this time, Nagoriyuki can go hog wild with his blood options until it eventually disappears. And that's why I kinda liked it, because it felt like a last gambit play. He's supposed to throw as many blood options at you as he can before he dies. However, they've given it way too many strengths, one of them being is that it's a plus on block low. Now, it being a low isn't really that big of a deal if I'm honest, because it's so damn slow, you're already gonna react to it. However, it's plus on block, making it a frame trap for him to go into 2S, and since it puts you at level 3 blood, you can consistently land a 2S if the opponent mashes. There's no way you miss it. The other thing is that there's guaranteed ways to go into it. One of its weaknesses is that it has a slow startup. However, doing clone into this move is guaranteed. It's completely guaranteed, and I think that's a problem. I don't think this should be a guaranteed tool to throw out there. I think it should be guaranteed if it's done on a meaty, for example, so he lands a 2k2d and then he does it and then it's guaranteed, but he should not have this in neutral or in offense guaranteed. But being plus on block and being guaranteed is the most insane part, and then there's the fact that the blood options afterwards are very hard to kind of stop him with. Because he's able to build up and play a poke game, he can actually lower his blood, which I think is fantastic design. And if he goes hog wild, he'll pop, which again, I also think is a fantastic design. It's just getting to that point I think is insane, and that needs to be adjusted. One balance I think I'd also do is that if Nagoriyuki builds blood to a certain point while doing this, it should crash no matter what. So if he built it at max, when he's done, it should hit max. So it's all about trying to get a nice balance for when you're done, you can come out of it on a smidgen left so you don't pop. The fact that it stalls his blood is already insane. You already know why that's insane. It lets him go crazy, it's a ton of stagger pressure, and it's plus on block, and it's guaranteed. So there needs to be some adjustments to this move, because it's ridiculous. This last part is going to be things that you can abuse about the matchup that can possibly help you, because as we know, Nagoriyuki's strong, but there are some weaknesses that we can take advantage of. Defense isn't the best. He has a super move for invincibility, and he's got wire C, and his 5k is a decent mash, and he has a fantastic 6p. But he doesn't have a solve all option defensive tool. If you pick the right stagger tool when putting offense on him, you'll be able to open them up without a doubt. I recommend doing a lot of block strings that go into delay 2D if you want to call it a masher, and if you think he's going to go for a super, a whole lot of pokes into empties, wait for it. Defense is pretty committal, so calling that out will give you a huge advantage. Another weakness is that at the higher blood points, his health becomes very low. Off of big combos, he'll take a lot of damage, so if you can maybe look for an opportunity to get your offense started while he's at the his health point, that's what I'd be aiming for. Like, if you think that he's been doing a lot of a certain tool and you're looking for a getting, try and abuse that. He's at high blood, he takes a lot of damage now. If he's a predictable Nagoriyuki when he does a new move, he's gonna go hog wild to go for the command grab, so just wait for the backdash. Honestly, just spam it at times, because if he hits you, it doesn't matter, he's gonna pop. If you're at low health though, just guess, it's that rough. One issue Nagoriyuki has, and this is for the zoner specifics, if you're someone like Axel, when Nagoriyuki's at high blood, he has difficulties dealing with zoning. Venom, I think he could deal with really easily, but a character like Axel, not so much. So if you think he's at high blood, and you're obviously playing a zoner character, make sure he stays at full screen. You don't need to approach him, he needs to approach you. Take advantage of that, right? Because as soon as he gets in, you're done. And there's not a lot of weaknesses on this guy. A lot of it is just guess. A lot of it is just fuzzy block. A lot of it is just play neutral better, which is so rough to say. He's super strong without a doubt. In my mind, definitely in the top 3. The other 2 in the top 3 are very debatable. I think it might be Leo, and I think it might be Ram or Potemkin. Top tier without a doubt as a number 1, I think goes between either Ram, Leo, or Nago from what I'm seeing. They're without a doubt very strong, but I won't say they're broken. I don't think they break the game like Season 4 top tiers or Season 3 top tiers. I look at them, I'm all like, they're strong. That's gonna be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, hype, sub, and tell me what you think about Nagoriyuki. Do you think he's busted? Do you think he's top tier? Or do you think I'm talking a whole lot of shite? And that's gonna be me, and I'll catch you in the next one.